Hello fellow brawlers, I'm KairosTime and it is time to brawl. I have probably my most successful video series going on right now. We got our Brawl Stars Brawler Tier List version 2. This is going to be fantastic. Hope you enjoy. Thank you so much for jumping on today's video, guys. This is going to be an amazing video, okay? I cannot believe the amount of quality that we have for these rankings, because basically what we've done, we've taken 19 pros, over 9,000 trophies, even some ranking up over a personal best over 13,000 trophies, which is just insane. And we've had them rank every single brawler on every single map, from F being poor, C being fair, B being good, A being very good, and S being excellent for that map, regardless of team composition. Now that is this video. We're gonna be coming out with video number 2, where we're gonna talk about the best and the worst brawlers to be playing on every single individual map, as well as covering the best team comps for that map. So let's go ahead and get started. If you're curious what those percentages are, basically what we're taking a look at the most frequent response that the pros rated each of these brawlers on each of these different maps. That percentage is how many of the pros actually voted for that same thing. If a brawler is actually ranked as like the S tier or the F tier, you're going to see those percentages a lot more increase, because it's pretty obvious where those brawlers stand. But in the middle range, like a B tier or a C tier or even an A tier, you're going to see some variability and lower percentages. That doesn't necessarily mean that that ranking isn't correct or good. It just basically means there's a little bit more wiggle room there, because the difference between a B and an A and a C isn't that much difference. They're a little bit more mediocre, and that's really what you need to know though. But if you are curious about those percentages, they're in the video for you. We're gonna go ahead and get started with the very first brawler at the very top of the alphabet, Barley. Okay, so Barley's game mode of choice is going to be Heist, obviously. Overall, he's an S tier brawler right there. With Bounty, Gem Grab, and Brawl Ball, you're going to want to avoid playing Barley on basically all the maps except for just a few exceptions. Now, if you take a look at all of the maps and see how he was rated for all of the maps, 50% of them were in the F tier, which means that Barley's most frequent rating is going to be F tier overall. That doesn't mean that he needs some type of a buff, although it does kind of hint towards something like that. Basically, that means that Barley is a specialist at Heist, and that's probably the best mode to be playing him with, unless you have some type of a team comp that you know works really well with him on a different map, or if there is another map that really seems to cater to Barley. Up next, we have your favorite archer, Bo. Bo's mode of choice is definitely Bounty, where he ranks fairly high in most of the maps, particularly Snake, Prairie, and Outlaw Camp. Heist is the game mode you want to avoid playing with Bo. He ranked F tier in there, almost every single map. For Gem Grab and Showdown, he received a B tier overall, and then Brawl Ball, he received a C tier. You will notice that he did receive a 100% S tier agreement among the pros that he is the best in Sapphire Prains, obviously. Overall, this puts Bo in the B tier, and he's really just like decent in most situations, unless you have a team comp built specifically around him, except for those specific maps that have a lot of bushes where he's able to really thrive when he does have that star power. Up next, we've got the Rocketeer Brock. Bounty obviously is Brock's #1 game of choice, where 74% of the pros rated him in all Bounty maps as an S tier brawler, which is just insane. The one exception is Snake Prairie, where obviously team comps are very different, and that long range doesn't always benefit him because of those extra bushes right there. Definitely a Bounty player. Heist, he's also pretty good at in Heist, and then Gem Grab, Showdown, and Brawl Ball, he's ranked at the B tier. I definitely think that auto aim and the fact that his shot width was increased so much really helped him become more of a generalist in the game rather than a specialist that was only good at Bounty. Overall, this puts Brock in the B tier. Next, we have Bull, whose primary game mode is Showdown, where he does extremely well, particularly in Feast or Famine, where he got 83% agreements with the pros as an S tier brawler. Bull is really map dependent on the other game modes. He ranked A tier in Gem Grab and Brawl Ball, and then B tier in Bounty and Heist. Really what it comes down to when it comes to deciding to play Bull is whether or not that map actually is beneficial to him. Luckily, you've got this great cheat sheet to help you decide which maps he's good on, which ones he's not. This next brawler is going to blow your socks off. Auto aim and his recent buffs as far as shot width has basically made him way too strong, okay? S tier on Showdown, Heist, and Brawl Ball. A huge majority of the maps are really fantastic for Colt right now, and even then Gem Grab and Bounty, he's ranked A tier overall, with only one map being ranked C or lower. Colt is a really high power brawler that really does tons of damage and is almost nearly impossible to miss now that people can spam that auto aim and hit their mark almost every single time. You will notice that he did get a 100% pro rating on Bandit Stash and almost got close to that on the other heist maps as well. Colt used to be a heist specialist where he was really good in heist and then just was okay in some other game modes depending on the map, but now it's very clear that he's just way too strong and needs some type of a nerf. Overall, this puts Colt in the S tier ranking. Up next, we got another really strong brawler, and that is Crow. Crow really seems to always be really good in the game, and now is no exception. The fact that he got buffed really helps him compete in a lot of different situations, and one thing that I find really interesting is that now he's actually in the S tier for Showdown, which he was just generally okay at previous to this tier list. He's very good to excellent in all of the bounty maps and all of the gem grab maps, which clearly makes him one of the strongest brawlers in the game. He does not quite seem to fit in Brawl Ball, so that might be one place to avoid playing him, but everywhere else is basically a safe bet. Overall, he is most frequently ranked in the A tier category, but I'd still think that Crow is probably a little too strong at this point, particularly because he's just so good at everything. Up next is Darryl the Barrel Bot. Darryl's an interesting one because compared to Bull, who was really good at quite a few maps and basically really not good in some other maps, Darryl is overall slightly better than Bull, but a little less better than Bull on those maps that Bull really thrived on. So he's kind of in this awkward phase where he's generally good, but not great at any one thing. Overall, this puts Darryl in the A tier. Next is Dynamike, who honestly just is not that great right now. He does okay in heist, but he's not, I wouldn't even consider him a specialist. He's kind of like a lesser Barley right now. He does do a lot of damage if you're able to hit really well with him, but still, I think that he does need some type of improvement, particularly because the controls just don't favor him. Overall, he's in the F tier for Bounty and Gem Grab and Brawl Ball, and in Showdown, he's okay on some maps, but really awful on Feast or Famine. I think that once the controls are optimized a little bit more for throwers, then I think that Dynamike will do much better. Overall, this places Dynamike in the F tier. Up next, we've got El Primo, who is a pro at Brawl Ball, and that's about it. El Primo really seems to be struggling right now. You can even see that in almost all of these maps, he's ranked at the C tier, which is just unfortunate for him. C tier in Heist, C tier in Gem Grab, C tier in Bounty, and he's only B tier in Showdown, with the exception of Feast or Famine, where he is S tier. That really does make El Primo only really good at Brawl Ball. And to be completely honest, I actually like it when brawlers are not very good in certain game modes, but they are really excellent in one particular game mode. I think it adds a lot of fun and excitement to the game. But overall, that puts El Primo in the C tier. Up next, we have Jesse, who is really excellent at Smash and Grab, or Gem Grab as we are now calling it, but really not that great in almost any other game mode, except for a couple of maps in Brawl Ball where she does okay. She's B tier for Brawl Ball, C tier for Bounty and Showdown, and then F tier for Heist. Don't play her in Heist. Really, if you want to play Jesse, the best places for you to do is just straight up in Gem Grab alone, or in Brawl Ball if you do have a solid team composition that you're able to work with. Overall, this puts Jesse in the F tier. Next, we've got Mortis, who is arguably one of the worst brawlers in the game right now. Auto aim just put him in his own grave. Unfortunately, he is awful at Gem Grab. Don't play him in Gem Grab, guys. I don't know why people keep playing him in Gem Grab. He's not very good at Heist. He's not very good at Showdown. He's not very good even at Bounty, where he used to actually be pretty good as an assassin. Brawl Ball seems to be the place if you need to push Mortis. Brawl Ball seems to be the place, and then some maps in Showdown, Stormy Plains, but you gotta have a really high level of skill in there. He's F tier for Bounty, Gem Grab, and Heist, and then B tier in Showdown and Brawl Ball. Overall, this puts him in the F tier, and I think that he really needs some type of a buff, or auto aim just really needs to be nerfed so that he's actually a viable option in the game. Next, we have Nita, who is absolutely a master in the Gem Grab mines, with the exception of Sapphire Plains. But that's not really a mine, is it? She's an S tier in Gem Grab, but all the other game modes, she's really not actually that great. Bounty, she's a C tier. Showdown, she's a B tier. And then Brawl Ball, she's a C tier. And then Heist, she is an F tier. Just not good for that game mode. Still, Nita is kind of getting overshadowed by other brawlers that really do a lot more damage, even in Gem Grab, like Rico and Colt, but she is overall pretty good to play in Gem Grab at the time and is actually still a lot of fun. Overall, this puts her in the C tier. Up next we have Pam, who I still think needs yet another buff. She ranked in the A tier for Gem Grab, which was her highest ranked game mode. She's C tier for Bounty, C tier for Showdown, F tier for Heist and Brawl Ball. Pam really is an underwhelming brawler right now, and even though she has an kind of an okay place in Gem Grab, that does require a good team composition to really help push her. That overall puts her in the F tier. Piper's the next brawler to really take a look at, an excellent specialist in Bounty, where almost every single map she's ranked in the S tier, and that really makes her really strong. What's new about this tier list is now she's actually somewhat viable in Gem Grab maps, where she did get some B tier rankings in those Gem Grab maps as well. She's not very good in Showdown, and she's really awful at Heist and Brawl Ball as well. Overall, that being said, I don't think that Piper really needs any type of a buff or any type of nerfs either. I think the auto-way makes her a little bit too easy to use right now, but I think that that'll be fixed, and really she's only really good in Bounty, where she really does thrive. Overall, this puts Piper in the F tier category. Next we have Poco, who really is a Gem Grab specialist, S tier in almost all of the maps, once again with the exception of Sapphire Plains, because it's kind of a whole different meta. In every single other map, his highest rank is a B tier, and you can see how he is B tier in Showdown and Brawl Ball, and then C tier in Bounty, where he's not really very good, and Heist, where he's just awful at the game. Overall, this puts Poco in the B tier. Up next we have Ricochet, probably the second best brawler in the game next to Colt. Really, he's strong. S tier rankings in every single Bounty map, almost every single Gem Grab map. That is absolutely insane. That puts him in the S tier for Bounty and Gem Grab, B tier for Showdown and Heist, and only the C tier in Brawl Ball. No F tier rankings on any single map for Ricochet, which is absolutely insane. He's clearly one of the most overpowered brawlers in the game right now, particularly because his shots are so much bigger than they used to be, and the fact that he is almost impossible to deal with if you have somebody that's really good at aiming manually. Overall, this puts him in the S tier category. Up next we have Shelley, who is in the S tier for Brawl Ball. That's definitely her game mode of choice, and then B tier in Gem Grab and Showdown, and then F tier in Bounty and Heist. Honestly, Shelley's best game mode is Brawl Ball, of course, and there are a few other maps where she's actually pretty decent, like in Sapphire Plains for Gem Grab and Feast or Famine for Showdown. But honestly, if you're gonna be playing Shelley with randoms, you're better off going with these specific maps and just avoiding her in the other maps. That is, unless you have a specific team comp that you know works really well with her. Which is a reminder, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next episode where we actually do go over the best comps for every single map in the game. Overall, this puts Shelley in the F tier. Up next we have Spike, who is a Gem Grab specialist, S tier in almost every single map there, and then he's A tier for Showdown, A tier for Brawl Ball, really good for those control situations in Brawl Ball right there, B for Bounty, and then F tier in Heist. He's just not very good in Heist. Honestly, I think that Spike is actually in a pretty good situation right now. The fact that they increased the size of his actual shots really definitely helped him, and overall this puts Spike in the B tier. Next we got Tara, who is a specialist at Brawl Ball, in the S tier for Brawl Ball overall, A tier for Gem Grab, A tier for Showdown, and then Bounty, not so great, and even worse in Heist. With the exception of the couple of maps that she is really good on for Brawl Ball, she does seem to struggle a little bit on almost all of the other maps. Overall, this puts Tara in the A tier. Thank you so much to these pro players for really helping out. Make sure, especially if they have a Twitter or a YouTube channel for you to go check out, that you go and do so and show them your support, because there is no way that this could be possible without their help. And trust me, you didn't want me to make this tier list based off of my own opinions. So once again, thank you so much to Crying Man and Neo Smith, who both have Twitter accounts that you'll want to check out, Eric EX, Leviathan, Lester Mo, Coach Corey, who has an amazing YouTube channel that you absolutely have to check out. He also does frequent rankings and tiers, Corey, Real Canadian, Sigurd HS, Dave Shadavitai, Dave, whose last name I cannot pronounce, The Secret, KT, Bunny, Morton, Alex, Jeff, who also has a YouTube channel you'll want to check out, Lance, It's the You Day, whose link you will definitely want to check out, Bot Account, and also, of course, Pierre. It was not an easy task to rank every single brawler for every single map, as well as suggest a best comp for every single map in the game, and they really deserve the credit for taking the time to actually help us out with this video, guys. So thanks so much to them, and thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe for more Brawl Stars content in the future. For now, this is KairosTime ticking by, and we will see you in the arena.